Okay, we are live. Good morning. This is Jesse Mechling, Director of Education at the Center for Coastal Studies in Provincetown, Massachusetts, welcoming you to Monday's version of Cool Marine Animals I Have Seen. I hope everyone had a nice weekend. Our weekend here on Cape Cod was one of winter and one of partial spring. Um, Today I'm going to be talking about a really cool marine animal. Start the week off with a bang, with a very large but completely harmless and docile creature that I've had the pleasure of seeing in three different places. It's a pretty cool animal, and I hope you will enjoy it today. So we're just going to get started. And today's uh, cool marine animal is a manta ray. Bring this down. Everyone can see. All right. So manta rays, there are actually two species of manta rays: the oceanic manta, which is Mobula virostris, and the reef manta ray, which is Mobula alfredi. Um, these are the largest species of rays in the world. They're related to stingrays and sharks. They're native to tropical, subtropical, and temperate waters. And one of their early names for manta rays was devilfish because of their pointed wingtips. Uh, I've only seen reef manta rays before, but would love to see the oceanic manta, which measures up to 9 meters or 29 feet. What an impressive animal. Um, the the reef manta, still not shabby, measures up to 5.5 meters or 18 feet. Um, they are related, as I mentioned, to sharks and rays because they are cartilaginous. They don't have bones. And the main differences between manta rays, and their cousins stingrays is that mantas lack the stinging barb at the end of the tail, thus rendering them completely harmless. They are large, but they are completely harmless to people. They um, will not injure or harm people in any way. And another difference between mantas and stingrays is stingrays have their mouths on the underside of their heads, while mantas have their mouths in the front of their heads. So mantas are found in subtropical, tropical, and temperate waters around the world, but prefer water above 20 degrees Celsius or 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Who doesn't? Um, and Since they don't have bones, there's not much known about the fossil record of mantas, but there are some fossils um, that date back to about 33 million years ago, that have been found. Mantas are filter feeders, that feed primarily on small zooplankton, shrimp, krill, crab larvae. They'll feed during the day at near the surface, and at night at depths. They actually do feed on small fish at depths, and have been found to recorded diving down to 1,000 meters or 3,300 feet. Seeing a manta feed is pretty cool. I've witnessed this in Hawaii, when they will come to the surface with their mouths open, filtering the tiny plankton, and then they'll do somersaults if it's a big patch of plankton. And I've personally witnessed this in Hawaii as a manta came up with its mouth open, got right to the surface, and did a somersault about 10 inches away from my son, and went back down into the depths. It's super cool to see mantas feeding. Um, Mantas near coral reefs, mantas will visit cleaning stations. Um, this is where I've mostly seen mantas, apart from the one-time feeding, was at cleaning stations, where mantas will go and get clean of tiny parasitic crustaceans called copepods. Mantas will frequent these cleaning stations, and it's found that mantas create long-term memories of their environments and know where these stations are. Someone just asked a question. No, mantas are not found in Cape Cod Bay. We do have rays here, but no mantas. The water's a little too cold for them. Uh, this is an image of a manta. You can see there's some fish it's near its mouth, and there's a little fish underneath at a cleaning station. This is from Indonesia. Um, Large pelagic mantas, the large ocean mantas, the large ones, are known to migrate up to 1,000 kilometers or 620 miles, but reef mantas tend to stay near the areas, coastal areas near reefs. They don't tend to migrate great distances in the ocean. Female mantas give birth to 1 or 2 live babies. The babies will actually hatch out of an egg sac inside the female, and then it grows to when it's fully developed, it will be expelled and will basically resemble a small manta. I've read that baby mantas can grow up to 150 kilos. That's pretty large, and it would be pretty cool to see a baby manta um, looking just like the adult. Mantas mature. It's estimated they mature between the ages of 8 and 10 years old and can live to be up to 50 years old. So it's a quite long-lived animal. Um, the gestation is thought to last for 12 to 13 months, and it's thought that they give birth every 2 years. Like most other animals, mantas can be individually identified. Markings on the underside of the manta, like these here, are unique to individuals. Mantas also vary in color from being mostly white to all black to a mix. And they have different shoulder patches to which they can also be identified. There's actually researchers around the world that will collect photos of people who see mantas while diving to match them all over the world. Really interestingly, mantas have the largest brain to size ratio of any cold-blooded fish. Its brain can be 10 times larger than a whale shark's, which is considerably bigger. And another cool animal that we're going to discuss next week. And a study in 2016 found that mantas actually have the ability to recognize themselves in a mirror. This is a cognitive ability only found in a number of other animals, most notably dolphins, elephants, and primates. And I can personally attest to having really cool interactions with mantas. One time while scuba diving in Indonesia, I had a manta sitting about 4 feet above me or 1.5 meters above me, sort of just feeling the bubbles of my scuba, and we were engaged in looking at each other for a few minutes. It was a really cool experience, and definitely something that I haven't had with other types of things that live in the water. Mantas are prey to large sharks and orcas, but of course their most significant threat, as with many other sea animals, comes from fishing. Mantas are actually eaten in parts of the world, but a larger and more growing threat comes from the capture of mantas for their gill rakes. These are cartilage filaments that allow mantas to filter plankton from the water. And relative recently, they have now found their way into Chinese traditional medicines, which has increased the demand for these animals. And in many tropical countries, places like the Philippines, Indonesia, Sri Lanka, mantas are being hunted in great numbers, particularly oceanic mantas for these gill plates. Mantas also subject to being caught as bycatch, which is catching something you're not intending to catch, and are susceptible to getting caught in fishing gear entanglements as well. And of course, one of the growing concerns for mantas and other large filter feeders is the ingestion of plastics and microplastics in particular. Off the coast of Indonesia, researchers have estimated that mantas were feeding on 63 pieces of plastic per hour. Not as much as whale sharks, but still that's quite a lot of trash to be ingesting per hour. The results and what kind of damage it's doing to these animals is not quite known at this time. But it is, of course, a continually growing problem. There are a couple of videos I would recommend after today. One's kind of sad, and if you Google in mantas feeding on trash or around trash, there's quite a few videos that will pop up. Interesting to see. And another one that's really more kind of uplifting is if you Google concentration of mantas in the Maldives, there are videos of just dozens and up to hundreds of mantas that actually swim together and congregate in places in the Maldives to feed, and it's quite spectacular. I've never seen anything like that, but I hope to one day. So that's it for today. our time is just about up. I want to thank you all for listening to me for another cool marine animal. Mantas are certainly cool. I now have a new goal of trying to find a baby manta. I don't know where they're born, but that would be really cool to see a little baby manta that looks just like an adult, but much, much smaller. And I hope everyone stays safe and healthy. And I hope you join me tomorrow for another cool marine animal that I have seen. So thank you and stay safe, everyone. Have a good day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.